Hello, everybody. Welcome to the refresher training for the Presumptive Eligibility Program for Pregnant Women. I am Kanita Sneed, and I will be your trainer for this refresher training for today. This training is recorded, so there is no audience. So when you receive this link to view this training, you will have the opportunity to ask any questions. What you would do is to jot down your questions while you are reviewing this training on the attached document that you received. And once you finish completing reviewing this training, you will send back your sign-in sheet, and you will also send back the document that lists all of your questions. And once I receive the questions, responses will be rendered back to you. And also what I will try to do is to put all of those questions and responses in the FAQ to send out to everybody to have. So like again, this is the refresher training for presumptive eligibility for pregnant women. Our mission at the Department of Community Health, we're trying to provide access to affordable, quality health care to Georgians through effective planning, purchasing, and oversight. And the purpose at the Department of Community Health, we're trying to shape the future of a healthy Georgia by improving access and ensuring quality to strengthen the communities that we serve. And like I said, this is the refresher training for the presumptive eligibility for pregnant women. So a few things that we're going to go over. We're going to start with just some basic information regarding what staff should be doing and also the responsibilities of the PE coordinators. So for new people that are coming in, once you come in and you are responsible, one of your duties is to do PE determinations at your particular facility, you will have to come through an initial training through DCH. And prior to coming to that training, excuse me, we ask that you have some type of knowledge, either reviewing old training materials from your former colleagues or your colleagues that are currently doing the presumptive eligibility determinations, or either looking at the policy manual that is listed on the gamus web portal, which is updated every quarter. We're just asking that you have some type of basic knowledge of, what the program is and how it operates. Complete all the required paperwork, including the PE assessment. So after you go through your training, you will have like an agreement form, completion of training form that you will have to complete, just to say that you understand the responsibilities of the program. And also you will have to pass an assessment, and that's with the 80% or higher. And you have to have all of that completed and pass the assessment in order to be cleared by DCH to start making PE determinations. And please make sure that you are acquainted with who your PE coordinator is. It's not necessarily going to be your direct supervisor. So the PE coordinators, there's one PE coordinator per district. So you will have to come familiarize who your PE coordinator is, because that is the person that you will need to communicate with if you have any questions about this program. And also if there's any type of communications that I need to get out to you all, those emails will come from your PE coordinator. For all PE staff, make sure that you keep your knowledge of this program up to date, and that's by utilizing your training materials that you have received, any emails that you have received, because if there's any types of updates or clarification that I need to get out to you all, it will be sent via email. So you need to make sure that you're checking your email, and then also utilizing the policy manual that is located on the gamus web portal. For any questions that you have for this program, we're asking that you try to utilize your material or the resources that you have to find an answer, or either reach out to your PE coordinator. And you can also, reach out to one of your colleagues that is currently doing presumptive eligibility determination, so they may know the answer as well. So do all of that first, and then if your PE coordinator is not available, then yes, you can come to DCH to see to get your answer to the question that you have, or whatever issue that you have at that moment. And those questions, if you have to send questions to me and you're emailing me, Make sure you're emailing them directly to my email address and not to the PE Corrections email address, because that email address is really basically to process paperwork that is coming in, like applications that are coming in from the hospitals, PE manual updates that are coming in, pharmacy requests that are coming in. So any direct questions, please email those directly to me. When you're doing the PE process, remember I told you all of the paperwork has to be completed and signed first before you enter a PE into gamus. It should not that you'll be entering the PE to gamus and then you do your paperwork. That is not the correct procedure. We have to do everything on paper first. You make a eligibility determination on paper first. Then if the person is eligible, then you put the PE into gamus. And that's to make sure that you have the applicant's signature where it is applicable. All staff should make sure that when your applicants are completing the full Medicaid application, that you are giving them the 94A, which is the single streamlined medical assistance application. And that's the one that's like 8 pages long and it has like 3 attachments to it. So don't give them the 94. The 94 is like a 2-page application, and that's really meant for women's health. So for pregnant women, you need to make sure that you're using the 94A for the full application. When you have to send information over here to DCH, whether it's an application or whether it's any other information in regards to a member, whether it's PII or PHI, please make sure you send your email securely, either encrypted or you can send it with a password. However you can send it, make sure that you're sending this information over securely. All PE manual updates, you need to make sure those are emailed to the PE Corrections email address and not directly to me. I only take like questions, and then if you have an issue with the member, especially if their application, full application from DFAS hasn't been processed, yeah, you would send those to me, but in PE manual updates need to go directly to the PE Corrections email address. We're asking you to make sure you please abide by any deadlines that DCH sets. And this is really in regards to training signups, because this is like a really, really big issue that I'm really trying to make sure that we understand that when training comes up and we're asking you to sign up by a deadline, then we need to make sure that we are adhering to that deadline, because after sign up is completed, then I gather all of my training material. So the training material can be sent out to the ones who sign up, can be sent out to them in the timely fashion, which I have set for 2 days prior. Because it shouldn't be that people are able to sign up after the training material have sent out or at the day of training. So that's why when we ask you to sign up by a certain date, please make sure you are signing up by that certain date. And right now, since in 2021, you should have received an email about how training is going to go for the rest of this year. So that's why we're doing a recorded training for the refresher. We're not going to have any more live sessions this year, and that's because, you know, I know most of you all are working with the COVID-19 projects, whether it's vaccine or shots or whatever. Most of you all are working with that, and then I'm working on some other priority projects as well. So this recorded training will allow people to view this training at their own on their own time. So for the new workers training, it's going to be a recorded as well. So when a new person comes in and they need to take the DCH training for this program, then the link will be sent to them for them to view it and jot down their questions and everything of that nature. So for this year, training will be viewed via recording link. Policy is going to always change. It's not going to always be the same. So please make sure that you are adaptable to change. So just because you're doing it this way today does not necessarily mean you're going to be doing it the same way 2 or 3 weeks later. Because if I get, if I become aware of an issue, probably from DFACS or anybody else, you know, about an application packet or whatever, and it's brought to my attention, then I'm am going to reach out to you about it. And then I know a couple of times I reached out to, certain staff about the correct procedure. And I get, well, I've been doing that, that way for a long time. I've never done it that way. So just make sure you are adaptable to change. And that's why I also have these refreshers so you can make sure that you understand the correct procedures and everything going on with this program. Also, remember to utilize your policy manual because that's updated every quarter. Anything that you need to know about this program is in that policy manual. So I highly recommend that you start utilizing that policy manual as well. For my PE coordinators, these are the people that have been set as PE coordinator for their district. So they're responsible for distributing any information out that comes out from DCH. They're responsible for distributing that information out to their district. So that's why I said new staff, it's highly recommend that you get familiarized with your PE coordinator because they are also able to answer any questions that you have in regard to this program. PE coordinators, I ask you to also introduce yourself to new employees. So I'm not sure how you all handle this in your particular district. Just make sure that I guess your supervisors in the district know that if any new employees come on and they need to go through the training, please make sure that they have your contact information so they can reach out to you if they have any questions or anything like that. And these people will communicate with DCH as well. If for some reason, like you're out of the office for a period of time, you're going to be out of the office for a period of time. If you have a backup person in your place while you're out, please let me know that. And that way, if I have to communicate out any information to the district, then that person will, I will have that person's contact information. So I will be able to send that person any information to send out to the district so the district won't be behind in anything that was sent out while you're absent. So a couple of things, a couple of forms that were updated previously, and I want to make sure to bring this to you all's attention. The first one is the 632. You should already be using the most recent updated version. And this was last revised on January 8, 2021. The only thing that changed on this application was a name change from DXC Technology to Gainwell Technologies, and this is up here at the top. The address, the phone number, and the fax number remain the same. The only thing that changed is that we changed DXC Technology to Gainwell Technology, so they're now called Gainwell Technologies. And the same thing on page 2 of this application is that we updated the name. And the next one that was updated is the Notice of ADA Section 504 rights. I think the information that was updated was information about Katie Beckett in here, but the revised date is down here at the bottom, 12/9/2020. So this is the most recent updated version of the Notice of ADA. And this should have been attached with this training link that you received. So make sure that you are not using the old version anymore and use the new version, and it has the revised date at the bottom. So those are the only 2 forms that have been updated. Okay, for non-financial eligibility, I wanted to kind of bring this to you all's attention because I know I have been getting quite a few questions about this. Applicants have been coming in with their employment authorization card or document. It goes by either way, but most of the times on the website, you're probably going to see it as employment authorization document, but they can present the card, which is the same thing. So this document is not to verify their citizenship or, their immigration status. It's only verifying that they are authorized to work in the United States for a specific time period, which means it's only really temporary. But also doing further research on this particular document, I also found out that refugees and asylees or individuals that have to apply for this. So remember from our immigration policy, if they are a refugee or asylee, then they are considered a qualified immigrant. So that's one particular thing. So with this document, this does not verify their immigration status. They're still going to have to let you know what their immigration status is. So if they present you with this card, you just let them know, thank you, but this does not, verify your immigration status. This just let me know that you're authorized to work in the United States. So you still have to go back to your immigration status policy to determine if they are a qualified immigrant so they can meet the citizenship immigration status. So if they are a qualified immigrant, then they would have to fit the criteria either in number 1 or the criteria in number 2. So that's what you'll do. You go through 1 based off of when they entered the United States. If it was before August 22nd, 1996, then they need to meet either A, B, or C in number 1, which means they're a lawfully permanent resident, asylum, refugee, Cuban Haitian entrants, immigrants granted parole for at least 1 year, immigrants whose deportation has been withheld, battered immigrants or victims of severe form of trafficking, or either honorably discharged U.S. veterans or active duty military personnel, their spouses, or their unmarried dependent children. So if they enter the United States before August 22nd, 1996, they have to fit one of these criteria in number 1. If they enter the United States on or after August 22nd, 1996, then they need to fit either A, B, C, or D in number 2. A is that they have to be a lawful permanent resident, but they have to have been here at least 5 years. And B is the same as up here is asylum, refugee, Cuban, Haitian entrants, immigrants, etc. C is a lawful permanent resident with 40 qualifying quarters, meaning they have at least 10 years of employment under the Social Security system, excuse me, and they have not received any federal means tested benefits. And not only, it's not only just for them, if they have a spouse or a parent, they can claim it under their spouse or parent as long as it has been 10 years of employment under the Social Security system and they have not received any federal means tested benefits. And then D is the same as above up here, the honorably discharged U.S. veterans or active duty military personnel. So again, if they show you the employment authorization card that does not verify their immigration status, you're still going to have to use your policy to determine if they are a qualified immigrant based off of when they entered the United States. So I kind of hope that clarifies that document for you all. But like I said, if you have any further questions, please write those questions down on the provided document that you have been provided. For the financial eligibility, the only update we have here is, of course, our new income limit chart. And this is the new income limits for 2021. And remember, this is effective March 1st, 2021. You should be using these new income limits on March 1st, 2021. And once March 1st, 2021 comes, make sure that you get rid of or stop using the income limits for 2020. And then over here is just the same conversion factors. These haven't changed. So if your income or deductions are not already in a monthly amount, that means you need to use a conversion factors to convert it over to a monthly amount. And this is still kind of a big issue with income. When I look at applications, people are not using these conversion factors. So you have to make sure that you're using the correct conversion factors to convert it over to a monthly amount. Okay, this is really what I wanted to go into, the PE procedures and the PE manual updates, because this is kind of still an area where we're still having difficulties in. Some of us are still having difficulties in, because I still get the same questions about, I have a member that's on P4HB, what am I supposed to do? Or I tried to put this member into gamus and it's giving me an error message saying that this member pregnancy has been within the last 7 months. I'm not sure exactly what the exact verbiage is, but it's something to that nature that you can't put it in because, their pregnancy has been within 7 months. Or either this member is calling me, or she came in saying that, she no longer has coverage and she did a P application back in November. What should I do? If you pull out these slides, the next few slides that we're going to go over, these are all the procedures that you would need. And it gives you the particular procedure based off of the situation that you have. So the first thing that you always should make sure that you're doing is to screen your applicants into gamus, and that's to see if they're already active or inactive. If they're already active, you need to know what A category they're active up under, because based off of the A category they're active up under, there's a particular procedure that you would need to follow. And we're going to go through that in just a moment. If they have an ID number already known to the system, you're going to make sure that you give them that same ID number. So once you interview, you're going to interview your individual that is applying, whether it's over the phone or in the office. You're going to interview them so you can complete the 632 and also any other required forms, including the full application, which is the 94A. And then you're going to make an eligibility determination based off of the information that they gave you to see if they're going to be eligible or ineligible. For the individuals that are deemed eligible, then after you have completed all of your paperwork and got the necessary signatures, then you're going to enter the PE into gamus. You will inform your applicant what the PE period time is. So if they applied on June 1st, 2021, then you'll tell them their PE period is going to go from June 1st, 2021 through July 31st, 2021. And then you will let them know their full application will be sent to DFACS for processing. You're going to provide them with written notice that they have been approved, which is the notice of action, the 634, and then the temporary certificate that you print from gamus. Also provide them the quick guide on PE pregnant women. If they need to understand how medical assistants work in Georgia, you can give them a copy of the booklet, and then the updated copy of the notice of ADA Section 504 rights, and also the P4HB information. If it's determined that that particular individual is ineligible, inform that person that if their circumstances changes, they can come back and reapply for presumptive eligibility. You're going to provide them with written notice that they have been denied, which is the notice of action 634, the denial notice. And then you're going to provide them with the P4HB information, let them know that their full application for DFACS, the full application for Medicaid will still be sent over to DFACS for processing. So here goes the steps or the particular procedures that you need to follow if a member is active on one of these 8 categories. So you need to follow these particular procedures. So if the person is active after you screen them, if they're active on P4HB 180 or 181, you're going to complete the steps that we just went over in number 2. You're going to do a PE application on them, do all the required forms, and then make an eligibility determination to see whether that individual is eligible or ineligible. Once you have done that, if the person is eligible, then of course, enter the PE to gamus and do all the rest of your necessary steps. And then the extra step that you make sure you need to do is to complete a PE manual update form. And you're completing this form because DCH needs to be notified that that P4HB case needs to be terminated. So that's why you're completing the PE manual update form. And we're going to go over the PE manual update process in just a moment. If the individual is active on Women's Health Aid Category 245, you will inform the member that she will need to report her pregnancy directly to DFACS. She can go online to gateway.ga.gov or report it to her caseworker. If she calls the 1877 number, I was informed a few weeks ago that if they call that number and listen to the prompts to speak to somebody, if their caseworker information is on their case, they should be transferred directly to their caseworker. But the first thing I will highly recommend them to do is to just go online and report it as a change. Go online to Gateway, they log into their account, and they want to report a change and report that they're now pregnant. Or either if you want to, you all can send an email to the Women's Health email address to let them know about this member being pregnant. So that's for Women's Health. If the person is active on SSI, the person already has Medicaid, and that person is going to keep that SSI Medicaid. So the only thing we need to do is to make sure that we enter her pregnancy information into the system. So what you would do is to complete the SSI Pregnant Women Update form, and you're going to send that to DCH, and we will go in and update her pregnancy information. Now, please remember that the SSI Medicaid will not be terminated. We will not terminate it. The only thing we're doing is to add the pregnancy information into the system. Next A category is Q-Track. If they're active on Q-Track, you're going to follow the same procedures like we did for P4HB, except you're not going to do a PE manual update form. The only thing you're going to do is when you're sending your PE packet to DFACS, you're going to be sending me a copy of it as well. And then in the body of your email for me, just make sure that you put, this member was approved for PE, but it's also active on Q-Track. So for the Q-Track people, you're still going to do a PE application on them and determine if they're going to be eligible or ineligible. Then if they are, you send the PE packet to myself and DFACS and let me know that the PE has been approved, but this member is also on Q-Track. If the person is active on inmate Medicaid, remember that they have to have been released. So if you see that, you're going to have to ask them if they have been released, and if so, they're going to have to give you the release date. If they do give you the release date, then you're going to complete the PE normal process. You're going to complete the 632 and all other required forms and determine if they're going to be eligible or ineligible. If they are eligible, then you're not going to enter the PE into gamus. Instead, you're going to send me their release date along with a copy of just the 632. You're going to send that directly to me. And then what I would do is I will verify their release date. If the release date can be verified, then I will add the PE to gamus and reach out to the member to let them know. If for some reason the release date cannot be verified, I have not ran into that issue, but if that's the case, I will reach out to the member to let them know that as well. And if we cannot verify their release date, then the PE will not be added. Please make sure that you continue to send your PE packet to DFACS for processing. And then if a member is active on any other A category that was not listed in here on number 3, if it's something that was not listed in either one of these slides, then they need to report their information to DFACS. And they can go online or either call the 1877 number. But those are the particular procedures for those particular A categories. Everybody else will need to report their information to DFACS. If a member was previously approved but later comes back and found out she's no longer pregnant and she report that information to you, you will need to make sure to send that information to myself, or not to myself, send that information to DCH to the PE correction email address. You're going to send us the member's name and ID number. Then if you have a copy of the negative test results, you can attach a copy of that, and we will go in and terminate that PE coverage. This is the one that I was mainly talk about that, I get a lot of emails on. If a member was previously approved for presumptive eligibility, but comes back in or either calls the health department back and say, hey, I recently had presumptive eligibility, or I recently had Medicaid. I no longer had it because now I went to the doctor. My doctor's saying that I don't have any coverage and I'm trying to see what's going on. So in those situations, these are the procedures that you need to follow. You're going to screen the member into gamus first to make sure that the medication is not active on Medicaid. And then you're going to ask her, or if you're familiar with the person, of course, you'll know if they applied in your office or not. But if you're not familiar with that person, or you're not sure if they applied at your particular office or not, make sure you ask them, where did they apply? When did they apply? or where did they apply for their Medicaids. And based off of that, if they applied in your office, I would need you to try to locate the PE packet for me. And if you're able to do that, send me an email and attach the PE packet to the email so I can have that information when I'm doing my research. If the member did not apply to your facility or you cannot locate the PE packet, then make sure that you are send me an email to let me know the member's information. And I will take you from there to research it to actually see what's going on. There are, several different reasons why the application probably wasn't processed. Either it was denied for some reason, and most of the times members saying that they're not getting the notifications. Either they were denied or the application was not approved by DFAS. It may be in the system or it may not be in the system. And if it was not in the system, that's why you're really sending me the application, because I will need that application in order for it to get processed. In that situation, I'm not sure what transpired between the routing of the application from you all to DFAX. So I'm not sure what happened with the application in that time. So that's why you all are sending me a copy of that if I cannot locate it in Gateway. But if a person comes back to you all and said that their coverage has ended, they don't have any coverage, please make sure you are following the steps in number 5. Okay, for your PE packet, this should always be included in your PE packet, and this is for the applications that are being done, in the office with you, meaning the individuals in the office with you. Make sure you include your 632, the 5460, which is the signature page only. All the other pages should be going to your applicant. The approval notice 634, the full application, the 94A, the updated copy of the notice of ADA. If applicable, if they have other health insurance, the DMA 285. And if it is available, if the member has a copy of their insurance card, make a copy of it front and back and send it as part of the PE packet. If they have a copy of the ID available, please make sure you make a copy of that and send it with you. Send it with the PE packet. And then also, if they provide you with any type of verification, please make sure you send that. So this is what should be included in your PE packet. So this is kind of like a checklist for you. So now we're going to get into the PE manual update. When should I complete a PE manual update? If for some reason you're unable to add the PE to gamus, and that goes back to the scenario that I gave you about if you're adding the PE to gamus, you get this error message saying there's, the pregnancy within the last 7 months. That means that the person originally had coverage for pregnant women, and somehow maybe they had a miscarriage or something like that, and the Medicaid has ended. And if they come back within 7 months of that last pregnancy, then that means that the old pregnancy is still within the system and it's not removed. So therefore, that's why it's going to give you that error message. So if it gives you that error message, then you need to make sure you do your PE process as normal, do all of your forms, make a PE determination, and then you do this PE manual update form. If the P4HB needs to be terminated, or if the member's information is incorrect in gamus and you're not able to correct it, that is when you need to fill out the PE manual update form. And this is what the PE manual update form looks like. Nothing new. Everybody should be familiar with this. And this is how you complete it. You always put the date that you are completing it for, and it really should be the same date that you're completing the PE application. You're going to check the box where it says Pregnant Women PE. And then if you see right up under that, the one that is circled, it says Attach Form 632. That means when you are sending this update form, you should also or always have a copy of your 632 attached with it. So there should be two forms attached to the email when you send in the update form. And then down here, you're going to check whatever needs to be updated. So if it's just terminate the P4HB, the only box you're going to check is terminate P4HB. That's it. go down here, print your name and your telephone number, and that's it. So you're not going to fill out this whole form. The name, address, social security number, date of birth. If I need that information, I'm going to get it from the 632. So that's why you're attaching the form 632. If for some reason you do this application over the phone, because we have the telephonic procedure, so if you happen to do this application over the phone and you have to do a PE manual update for it, you're going to also be attaching the attachment A. So no longer, not only will you have the update form, the 632, you're also going to attach the attachment A, and that's because the member signature or the applicant's signature is not on the application. Instead, you sign on their behalf, so I would need to see a copy of the attachment A. If you are updating, or if we need to update the individual's name, date of birth, social security number, or citizenship, we will need verification of that before we're able to change it. So if the member has that information available, please make sure you're sending verification of that to us when you send this update form. And do not send us the whole PE packet. The PE packet should go directly to DFACS. And remember, updates are only for people that have been approved for presumptive. If they are now approved for full Medicaid, they need to report any updates to DFACS. Okay, the telephonic signature procedure. This procedure process, you can still continue to use this while we're still in the COVID-19 pandemic. So you will continue to use this until you get further notice from DCH. So for the telephonic signature procedure, you will follow these processes. So you're going to screen the individual into gamus like you would normally do. Attain all of the information, which means to do an interview to complete your 632 and all other required forms. On the attachment A, there are statements that you would need to make sure that you're reading verbally to your applicant verbatim, and the applicant would need to verbally acknowledge and give their consent. Once they give their consent, then you're going to determine whether that individual is eligible or not. If the individual is eligible, then you're going to make sure that you put the PE into gamus. You're going to complete the 94A on their behalf. You're not going to send them the application to fill out and they send it back to you. You're going to be filling it out while they're on the phone with you. Then you're going to email or mail your applicant the temporary certificate, the 634 notice of action approval, the 5460. They don't have to sign anything and send it back to you. You're going to send them all pages. The updated copy of the notice of ADA and a copy of the signed attachment A. So if they are eligible, you need to make sure once you have entered their information into gamus, you mail or email them this information. Inform them of their PE period, time, and the services covered, and that their PE packet will be sent to DFACS. Their PE application will be, their full application, will be sent to DFACS for processing. So you need to send your full PE packet to DFACS within 5 business days. If the individual is determined ineligible, let them know if their circumstances changes. They can come back and have another PE determination made. And then you're still going to email or mail them the 634. This time it's going to be the denial notice, the 5460, updated copy of the notice of ADA, and also a copy of the signed attachment A. And then you're also going to still send their PE packet to DFACS within 5 business days. So those are the procedures that you would need to follow if you're doing an application over the phone. What should your PE packet look like if you do an application over the phone? It's pretty similar to the regular one, but it doesn't have like the 5460, the signature page. It doesn't have that on there. So what you're going to be sending them is the 632, the 634, either the approval or denial notice, updated copy of the notice of ADA, and then you're going to be including the signed attachment A, because that attachment A, once you sign on their behalf, Remember, it serves as signature for the PE application, and it also serves as signature for the 94A. So that's why you have to make sure that the attachment A, the signed attachment A, is included in the PE packet. Of course, the 94A, and then if they have other health insurance, the third-party liability. So now, since we've completed the procedures and the update, so hopefully that is kind of a little bit clearer for everybody. So like I said, if you have to pull those slides out, go ahead and pull those slides out to let you know what particular procedure you need to follow based off of what situation you are presented with. So now we're going to talk about some common errors that I see people are making mistakes on. So I wanted to bring this to you all's attention. If you're not making these mistakes, great. But most applications that I see coming over, these are the mistakes that I've seen. So the first one is, again, the begin date. I'm still seeing people put the first of the month. If that person did not actually apply on the first of the month, your date should not be the first of the month. Remember, the date is the date that they came in to apply with you. It can be any day of the month. Remember, presumptive eligibility does not go back to the first of the month. The second one is the medical assistance identification number. Either you all are leaving it blank, or the number is incorrect, or the number does not have enough digits. The ID number is always 12 digits long. Also, remember to kind of verify this ID number to make sure that it is correct. The next area is tax filer household, non-tax filer household. Most of the people are continuing to leave this blank, and this should not be the case. Remember, this is important because it determines who should be in the budget group for this applicant and who should be listed on this application. You have a budget group flow chart, and on that budget group flow chart, there is a question that you are asking each applicant. Based off of the answer to that question, that's going to put them in either two categories, either a tax filer household or a non-tax filer household. So that is very important that you ask that question every time. That will help you answer this question. And remember, your box needs to be checked for yes for one of these. A yes has to be checked for either tax filer household or non-tax filer household. If people are checking this, they're checking a no. That is incorrect. You can check a no, but you also need to check a yes for one of these. So the main thing we're looking at is a yes is checked for either tax filer household or non-tax filer household. The next area is dealing with income, and this is the section where people are not converting like they're supposed to, or either you're rounding your income. If an individual, for instance, if an individual is paid, let's see, $300 a month. So in your calculator, you're going to put $300 a week. If someone is paid $300 a week, that means you need to use your conversion factors to convert that to a monthly amount. So what you're going to do is in your calculator, you're going to put 300 times 4.3333, and your amount should be $1299.99. It's not $1,300. It's $1299.99. So you need to make sure you're using your conversion factors. Most people are just using like the normal numbers to convert something over to a monthly amount. So again, in that instance, if it's $300 a week, people are just multiplying it by 4 to get $1,200. And that's not the case when you're dealing with Medicaid. Medicaid has its conversion factor. So that's why that conversion factor chart is kind of listed on the income limit chart to help you, to remind you, if it's not in a monthly amount, then you need to convert it using one of these conversion factors. The next area is 4B. It's in 3 locations. It's circle for monthly net income, subtotal net income, and total net income. These 3 fields are being left blank even when the income is listed on this application. So you'll fill out the monthly gross income part, but you won't fill out the rest of the part, which is the monthly net income column, subtotal net income field, and the total net income field. These are being left blank, and that should not be the case. So if there's income in here, those three fields need to be completed as well. So again, to reiterate what goes in these fields, their monthly net income is whatever you have. So if it's the monthly amount over here that you're going to use, if there's any pre-tax or 1040 deduction, you're going to subtract that from your monthly amount. And then once you do that calculation, you're going to put that amount in the monthly net income field. If there is no pre-tax or 1040 deductions at all, then your monthly amount will come over to your monthly net income field. And that would be for each individual person listed on this application, and we are including their income. If their income has to be included, then that's how you would calculate their income. Your subtotal net income field, whatever's in this last column, your monthly net income column, you're just going to add that up and bring it down to this field. And then your total net income field will either be the same as the subtotal net income or different. It depends on if you need to subtract your 5% deduction. And remember, the 5% deduction is not automatically given. It's only subtracted or only used if it's needed to make that person eligible, meaning their income is over the income limit. If their income is over the income limit, then that's when you will use the 5% deduction. And remember, the 5% deduction amount will come from your income limit chart based off of how many people are in the budget group for that pregnant woman. And then down here for your poverty income level, please do not put 220%. I need you to put the amount, because the amount may be different based off of how many people are in the budget group. So I need you to put the amount from your income limit chart. And then the last thing is the qualified provider name. So down here, most people are just putting the address. They're not giving me the name of the health department or facility. So I need you to give me the health department's name down here. You can abbreviate, that's fine, but I need to make sure that you're giving me the name and address. So those are the most common errors that I see. I want to bring this to you all's attention because, like I said, if you are making these mistakes, hopefully you're understanding it more clearly now. But if you have still outstanding question, please make sure you write them down. Next thing I want to talk about is gamus. If for some reason you are getting an error message with gamus and you're not able to print the temporary certificate, or you're not able, or it's down for some reason. Now, if it's down statewide, if I know about it, then of course I'm going to let you all know. But if it's just only you're having issues with gamus, I need you to report that information to the help desk at Gainwell Technologies, because they need to be aware of what's going on, because they may not know that it's going on, especially if it's just affecting you or a few more people. So they may not know. And then that's also something that I cannot help with, because I don't control Gainwell's website. That's the gamus website is what Gainwell Technology, that's their website. They're just doing it like we're contracting out with them, so they are responsible for the website. So if you have any issues with the gamus website, please make sure you're reporting that to the Gainwell Technologies help desk. Okay, that is the end of this training. Here is my contact information. This is for your use only. I want to say this again. Please do not give out my information to anybody unless you have, consulted with me first, and then I, advise you that you can give it out. Otherwise, this is for your use only. If you need to contact me, by all means, try to reach me via email first. And that's because, like I said, I'm working on other priority projects, and which causes me to be in meetings a lot. So it's kind of hard for me to answer the phone. So if you can, by all means, try to reach me by email. And then, excuse me, if I don't respond back like you need me to, then you can try to reach me via phone. So this is the end of the refresher training. So I just wanted to give, some quick updates of things that I needed to get out to you, and then also talk about, just refresh you all up on the particular procedures and the PE manual update process, and also about application errors that I've seen. Thank you all for viewing this training. And thank you all for all the hard work that you continue to do. I know, this year and last year has been very unusual, but thank you all for the ones that are working on the COVID-19 project. I want to say a special thanks to you all because I know, your job is tirelessly every day. So I really thank you all for that. And then I also want to thank the ones that continue to make P determinations for pregnant women during this time. So your hard work does not go unnoticed to me. So I just want to say thank you all so very much, making sure that this program continues to operate like it's supposed to. So like I said, if you have any questions while you're viewing this training or after you viewed this training, please make sure that you write them down. And then after you have reviewed the training, please make sure that you're sending the sign-in sheet back along with the copy of your questions that you have, and you will get responses back to those. So thank you all for viewing this training again, and hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.